Tonight on The Edge, Donald Trump becomes the first former president to be convicted of felony crimes.
We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
It took a jury 2 days to find the former commander-in-chief guilty of all 34 counts.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt.
Prosecutors successfully proved that Trump falsified business records in a scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election by delivering hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels.
12 everyday jurors vowed to make a decision based on the evidence and the law, and the evidence and the law alone.
Despite a conviction, the former president is continuing to fight with an appeal.
Well, an historic day in America. Today, a jury convicted a former president of felonious crimes.
Former President Donald Trump calling the decision a disgrace. Fox's Sharon Crowley has a closer look at how the jury reached their verdict.
We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
Former President Donald Trump seething and doubling down on his innocence after a jury found him guilty in his criminal hush money case.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
The jury found Trump falsified business records to cover up a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels about an alleged affair in order to protect his chances in the 2016 election. With the eyes of the world watching, the panel of 7 men and 5 women deliberated for about 9 hours over 2 days before reaching a guilty verdict. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg brought this history-making case.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
The prosecution's key witness, Trump's former lawyer and so-called fixer, Michael Cohen, testified Trump directed him to pay Stormy Daniels for her silence leading up to the election. The defense repeatedly attacked Cohen's credibility, painting him as a liar who acted independently. Cohen responding to the guilty verdict by saying, quote, "Today is an important day for accountability and the rule of law. While it has been a difficult journey for me and my family, the truth always matters." Trump's legal team is already planning to appeal.
We've been saying for over a year that we couldn't get a fair trial in Manhattan. We couldn't get a fair trial with the judge, and it played out in lots of ways exactly as we expected.
Sharon Crowley, Fox News.
President Trump is scheduled to be sentenced on July 11th, just before he's expected to be elected as the presidential nominee at the Republican National Convention.
But will this conviction have an influence on how people will vote? Fox News' Jessica Dupnack joins us live with more on these predictions from political pundits. Jessica.
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question, Brandon and Taryn. Of some of the real folks we talked to out on the street today, those Trump supporters, they tell us this makes them want to vote for Trump even more. But the Democratic strategist says that having a felony conviction could sway voters.
I think most Americans are going to see this as outrageous. It's the clear weaponization of the Justice Department by the Biden administration.
Aaron Tobin with the Oakland County Republican Party calling this whole trial a form of election tampering and says President Biden is actually the one who should be charged. But from the Democrats, a nod to the jury who handed down the verdict.
My initial reaction to the news is that my hat comes off for the people that were on the jury.
The timing of it all. Does this help or hurt the former president in this upcoming election?
The strategists are saying they just got President Trump elected. This is going to boost President Trump amongst the people that were sitting on the fence.
More difficult when you think about electing somebody who's been convicted of a felony. The polls have shown, particularly among independents, that a plurality of them would not want to vote for somebody that's been convicted.
Greg Bowens, a Democratic strategist, says if he were advising the president on reactions to this verdict, he'd tell him to say that the decision Thursday should instill Americans' faith in the justice system.
All the money that he has, all the power that he has, all the influence that he has was not enough to sway 12 regular folks about the charges that he was facing.
The former president knows his way around an appeal, likely to come this time around too, a chance to avoid jail time.
I see this as being appealed. I think a high school teacher that has a background in law can see that this suit is full of holes.
Aaron Tobin, who you just heard from there with the Oakland County Republican Party, he tells us that he's had folks reach out in the last few hours asking where they can cut checks, really looking to double down their support for the former president. But will that support be enough to win an election? Reporting live, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Yeah, I don't think you'll really know until Election Day, because even just within the last few months, we hear that people have switched sides and are considering other candidates. And, you know, I think to see what happens with the sentence as well, that will all make an impact.
Yeah, it was interesting, though. I got to say, I was surprised talking to folks on the street, talking to some of the other Republicans. You know, the fact that people are doubling down, you could sense anger. You could sense sort of a reignition of their support for the former president. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, we know his website did, Donald Trump's website shut down because so many people are trying to donate. So it did fire up the base. Thanks, Jessica. Supporters of Donald Trump speaking out tonight on what they are calling, as you've heard, a rigged trial.
Well, that includes the Michigan Republican Party chair. In a statement, Pete Hoekstra says that, quote, this sham trial has been widely disregarded by legal experts. It is meant to be a distraction from the real issues at play. And he goes on to say that President Trump committed no crime, and November will be the real verdict that rights this wrong. End quote. Something very similar to what we heard from former President Trump himself.
Now, meanwhile, Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin calls today's verdict a sad moment for our country. She goes on to say, quote, the only good news is that our justice system worked. Even under enormous pressure, every American, even a former president, must be held accountable under the law, end quote.
Well, there was also plenty of reaction around Metro Detroit.
Yes, Fox 2 hitting the streets to hear what you had to say.
Think about all the things he's done over the past pretty much decade. You know, it's a lot of crime, a lot of corruptness, so I think it's well deserved.
Justice is finally served. He's finally getting caught up to everything he's done. For the first time in American history, it's also unprecedented in American history.
I think that he has been involved in lots of criminal activity, and I think that, you know, justice was served.
I think his true supporters are going to support him no matter what. That's been proven. Hopefully it'll change some people's minds.
I'm just in shock. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's definitely going to impact a lot of people's thoughts.
It's the Democrats. That's their game. That's their playbook. They think they can get Donald Trump not to run for president or not be able to run for president. Not going to happen.
Does it make you want to vote for him even more?
Even more. Absolutely. He's got my vote.
Well, Donald Trump is the first former president convicted of felony crimes, and that means that he may not be allowed to vote in the election this fall. His home state of Florida, the law allows most felons to vote after they complete their sentence, but it is not clear what kind of punishment the judge will impose. Hypothetically, Trump's conviction would make him ineligible to hold public office if he lived here in Michigan.
Well, today we had a historic conviction, but the story is far from over. Stay with Fox 2 on air and online for the latest developments.
All right, let's turn to the weather. It's a beautiful day outside. Yeah, a bit cool for the end of May. Felt a lot like yesterday.
But we're here
today.
Warm up, yeah, for the weekend too. It's nice, Rich.
Yeah, sunshine is great and warmer temperatures also great. You can see clear skies right now across the central Great Lakes. Here's our next system from Minnesota all the way down into Louisiana. In fact, some flooding rains in Louisiana. That's not coming our way. Mainly clear skies right now for Chicago, for Detroit, Saginaw, up to Traverse City. How about some great live shots from San Francisco, looking over some of the inner bays there. Beautiful sunset. San Francisco, 66 degrees. Our daytime high today was 72. It was cool this morning. A lot of us started the day in the 40s, and we will likely start tomorrow morning in the 40s. 73 for high in Newberry, 70 Chicago, 72 down in Columbus. Here are the numbers at the airport. Your average is 75 and 55, so we came up short today. There are your records, 93 and 36. Sunset is getting later and later now at 9:02. Look at this, already down to 45 in Port Huron, 46 Ann Arbor right now, 56 in Pontiac, 48 up to our north in Flint. Thankfully, not a lot of wind out there. Tomorrow, we're going to see just a bit of a southerly flow, and that's why tomorrow will be warmer than today with all that sunshine. 56 in Chicago, 48 Sheboygan, that's up near the bridge, 55 in Toronto, chilly out around Erie, PA, 54 degrees. So high pressure in command for tonight and tomorrow. No problems over the next 36 hours. It's Saturday that features more clouds with the approach of our next cold front, and you can see there will be some late evening showers Saturday through the overnight. They could even linger into early Sunday morning. But for the rest of tonight, mostly clear skies. It's chilly out there. We'll bottom out at 47 in the city, but some of the outlying areas will be a bit cooler than that. How about your Friday forecast? Mostly sunny, very nice tomorrow. A light breeze from the south and 75. We get a bit warmer for the weekend, especially Sunday. Look at next week. We get into the middle 80s, but we will likely see some unsettled weather. Remember, you can take the forecast with you with the Fox 2 weather app. You can download it for free in the App Store or in Google Play. Do it now.